who doesn't punch back, fortunately. So they talked about our past. I mean, definitely we have a stellar past. But I'd like to play the devil's advocate. 100 years from now, there is the same program being conducted. Will the audience of that program talk about the past that we are talking about? Or will we collectively create a past for them that they'll be proud of? I think that's really the challenge. We really need to build this city to the level that the future generations can be proud of and refer to something more contemporary rather than very historical. Now, when you talk about creating value, I think, at the end of the day, how do you create history? You go back and say, what are the lessons in history? So if you say, how was the city created? Indigenous ingenuity. That's what created the city, right? So if you go back and look at all the people who built businesses, institutions, world class. If not world class, at least national class, right? And that's really is the fuel that propelled the city all these years. And we now seem to be running on fumes. Now we've got to get this fuel back, get a new engine and drive it. So if you look at what did they create? What did the people of the past, all these ingenious people, what did they create? They created huge value that came out of this geography called Coimbatore. Value, economic value, social value, huge amounts that they created. Now, if we want to create a history that the future generations will be proud of, we've got to look at what's the value we are going to create. And I'm going to present, in next, they talked about so many vectors of values that they want to build. And all these vectors land on the same strip. And that strip is value of the city. Yeah. Measured probably in tangibles, in billions of dollars, and the intangibles about what is the quality you bring to play. So it's finally value. So I would like to share with you how we build value, how we see value in our company. And the reason why I want to talk about it in a little broader context is the definition of value has changed dramatically in the last 30, 40 years. Earlier, value was profit in your pocket and what you could do with it. More profit in your pocket, you spent it. It's one way of creating value. You gave to society, created institutions. That's another way of value. But at the end of the day, if you really look at the history of value that was created in the city, it was profit in the pocket. Disproportionately, that's how the ingenious people of the past, for whatever reasons, valid reasons, that was the paradigm at that time. They looked at profit in the pocket. And I think if we continue down that path, we will be limiting ourselves in terms of what value is. I think value now is about disproportionately less about financial value, more about how good an organization are you, right, to your stakeholders. And the interesting part is, you pursue that more ardently than the pursuit of profits. Actually, profits become more. But you have to have faith. It's like religion, you know. If you don't have faith, there's nothing to done. Right? So you have to have faith that if you do this, the profit in your pocket is actually more. But if you pursue profit in your pocket, actually you get less. So in our company, you can see it, right? So we look at it as a tension triangle, right? One is the purpose. Why do you exist? And in our definition of purpose is what we are to our stakeholders, right? And our stakeholders are our customers, our employees, our distributors, our suppliers, our investors and society. These are the 6 stakeholders that we exist for. So we consciously say the end goal of the company is purpose and not profit. And when I say profit, it's in inverted comma, basically your financial goals. Right? This is a metaphor for your financial goals and it kind of rhymes with purpose that looks good. Yeah? So, don't do this. Purpose is a means to the purpose. I mean, profit is a means to the purpose. And the purpose is the end. Right? So, this is how we do it. I'll come back and talk a little bit about this because that's a very key anchor in your pursuit of your enterprise. It is a 3-legged chair, deliberately 3-legged because it is unstable. Running a business, if you've got a 4-legged chair, something is going to happen to you, right? You need to keep the business unstable. There is a certain instability, and that instability is the one that gives you the edge. So in our company, this 3-legged chair, the purpose is the big leg at the back, right? That's the one that anchors the whole thing, right? So this is the way we look at it. So let me give you some examples of purpose. So one of our purpose is we don't want to build a company on the back of cheap Indians. This is our purpose, right? It's a stated, explicitly articulated with a metric. So what are we doing? So we said, we have a factory in Italy. The technology for the factory goes from our factory here in Coimbatore. They pay 30 lakhs to a blue collar employee because that's the market. You don't pay 30 lakhs, nobody's going to come to work. And they're profitable. So the question is, why should we be paying low to Indians who are generating that technology, right? So what's the logic of this? So is it right for a company to be making profit by not paying its people in the country what it's willing to pay in another country? So this is no. So we have a program. Obviously, I can't do it overnight, then what are the other legs will take, right? So today, our blue-collar employee is about 11 lakhs, is the cost. Now, people look at it and say, are you mad? 11 lakhs when you can get somebody for 2.5? But an 11 lakh person has a mind and competence that's far better than even Italy, right? So, what do we get? So when we fulfill that purpose and we start moving towards that purpose, I get continuity in my profit. I have a commitment to produce quality that I can never get anywhere. Right? Today I can tell you, independently we have done this research. Our quality is number 2 in the world. And this is with people, with the machines being designed and built here. It's not process. Process is important. But the person at the end of the process finally determines the last mile of quality, right? And if that person doesn't have his heart and his head in place, There's no way in hell you're going to get your process to work. Can you put a price on the profit for that? It's not possible, right? The other benefit, when we do that purpose of 11 lakhs and tomorrow it's going to become 30 lakhs, suddenly the engineering guys have to build products that will earn that value. Today, when you pay 2.5 lakhs, I'm not in any compulsion to design products of that standard. I can go and sell it cheap. The sales and marketing organization has to step up, get their act together, and start selling value. Not go there and say, customer says, I want discount. Absolutely, sir, tell me what you want. Right on your knees, pants down, tell me what discount you want. It doesn't work. There is no purpose in this organization. Right? Let me give you another example with society. We are marching towards making our entire electricity that we consume as renewable. Right? Now, this has got nothing to do with the price of power. We are doing it because we want a goal that 100% of our energy used in our production should be renewable. We are now at 50%. Yeah. We have plans. Just like we allocate capital for this product development, we allocate capital for this market development, we allocate this for brand building, we allocate to society and say, environment, we have to allocate. We can't do it. We can't do this Hanuman leap and do it. But every year there is a commitment. Now, what happens? I get a call from one of our long-term investors. It's a huge fund in Salt Lake City, in Utah. So he says, what's your environmental goal? So we describe our entire goal, our investment so far, and the progress that we made. He was surprised that we are so far ahead of our competitors. Now, we didn't do it for the sake of beating our competitors here. We did it because that's our purpose. He said, this is important. We have to be responsible as an organization. It's not all about profit. Yeah. The benefit is we have a good valuation in the market, right? And as a consequence of the good valuation, we are able to pay our leadership through stock. And when we do that, we start getting profit because it's no longer a salary cost that the company incurs. The market pays for it, right? People are happy, right? And we are able to attract talent. So it's a very large circle, yeah? And it is a very connected circle. So we need to have faith. Now coming to profit, or the metaphor for profit is your business aspirations, right? So I did my thesis in 1986, and the thesis was, why aren't Indian companies competitive worldwide? This was 1986, and my professor was C.K. Prahlad, and he said, you're wasting your time. He said, don't do it. It's a waste of time to ask the question because India had not opened up. It was still the licensing system and high tariff barriers. So there's really no question. So my hypothesis, 1944, post-World War, the Japanese companies started with absolutely nothing. And they built their businesses to become world class. And they hit that probably around the late 80s. 1950, after the Korean War, Korean companies started with nothing and they built it, maybe in the 90s and mid-90s. 1947, we started. we all three went to the same Western companies for license. Whether it was the GEs or whether it was the Raytheons, or same companies we went, they took that technology, moved it to another level. What is the reason? So I said, this is my thesis, I want to find out why. So I came here and interviewed about 22 CEOs of very large companies, and basically discovered that horizontal expansion was easier. It's, you're an inch wide, a mile wide and an inch deep, rather than go vertical, which is an inch wide and a mile deep. Right? So the Japanese went an inch wide and a mile deep. The Indians went a mile wide and an inch deep. So if you remember, in all our businesses, we were in multiplicity of businesses. When I joined LG, we were in 9 different businesses, right? So, whether it was logical or not at that time, probably I was young and stupid. So I said, this is what I want to do. Build an enterprise that is out of India, by Indians, that's what it was. Right? So came here, much to my father's concern and worry, to the point that he probably was thinking, this guy fall down and hurt his head. So I said, I want to sell or shut down all these businesses. Credit to him, let me. Right? So we did that and we started going a mile deep, right? An inch wide, a mile deep. So just to give a context, the total global business for our products is $20.5 billion. The Indian market for our product is about 800 million. Where would you be playing? Clearly, it doesn't make any sense. If you really have aspirations for profit, you've got to be playing globally, right? That's point number one. Point number two, if you really want to make money, you've got to play on the right side of the value chain and not on the left side of the value chain. What I mean by that is, don't make products for others. That's the left side. You look at the IT industry. They're selling cheap videos. They don't like it, but hey, I'm speaking the facts, right? You're taking Indians at $10, maybe an hour, selling them at $30 an hour. To somebody who's eventually making a product which effective hourly rate could be $400 an hour, right? You want to be playing on the right side of the value chain. So, in all our business ventures outside the country, we sell under the brand LG and we go direct to the customer. We don't have we have distributors with our partners, but we don't sell to another compressor company. Right? So, the aspiration has to be bigger than you. If you're dreaming and if you size your business to what you're capable of today, then you're limiting yourself. And a lot of times when we talk about this, even internally in the company, we say, oh, but you don't have the money. But the thing that we need to understand is nobody is born big. They were made big. And you do the right things, money required for every step will come. My competitor, who's $6.5, $7 billion in size, was not born that way. They did not have the money that they have today when they started. They earned it. And if there is an opportunity for $20.5 billion, there is no way you can go wrong but to earn it to invest back into the business. Right? So I keep telling people, so what happened in 1947? We got our independence. So who had the money? British. Who controlled the army? British. Who controlled the law? British. Who controlled the legislation? The British. But we won. We didn't have money. We didn't have resources, but we had an aspiration. We had an aspiration that was far bigger than what we were capable of. Right? So if those aspirations are anchored with 2 feet on the ground, you can't be flying and smoking funny things when you have those things, but 2 feet on the ground, you have those aspirations, there's absolutely no way you will lose. But if you want instant nirvana and one big Hanuman leap, you're going to go from one place to another, ain't happening. So this has been for us a 26-year journey. Our aspiration, when we started this journey, around about the early 90s, we took the top 100 companies in the world. Our name was not even there. Today, we are number 7. Our aspiration is to be in the top 3 by 2035. Right? So, you've got to take long bets. You can't have short bets. So, this is going to be probably a 40-year journey. Yeah? But 40-year journey, 1.6 billion. That's what we expect. We'll be $1.6 billion with a 20% EBITDA and a 50% return on capital employed. That's a pretty good business, if you ask me. Yeah. When we are today around 400 million and about 11.5% EBITDA and about 22% ROCE. That's pretty good. So if you can do that, and it's worth that 40-year wait. Why do I want to go and make bed sheets, for instance, right? Or something else? Yeah. I can't think of something else, but why would I do it? Here's a business I know. The organization is well settled. People are aligned to it. There's a huge opportunity. Go a mile deep, dig deeper, deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's what you will get at the end. So, to summarize for the final part, risk. That's a very important anchor. 2 ways. One, if you want this and that, you've got to take risks. You can't go around it. If you say, I want 5.5% bank rate of security, but I want to be number 3 in the world, ain't happening. Yeah? Got to take risks. But you have a responsibility to your stakeholders to mitigate those risks, to be very, very conscious about what those risks are and how do you manage them. We've screwed up. We've done really some terrible things. We went to China, biggest market in the world, and we thought we would be champions in China. Doesn't work that way. The Chinese don't like the Indian prices. They like much lower tariffs. So after about 12 years and probably 100 crores of loss, we said, okay, pull out of China. Went and acquired a company in France. Again, it was one of those lifting the collar moments, saying, oh, we're going to do acquisition in Europe. My God, you get a star for that and a big tick mark and a few applauses. The first week after that, it is just nightmare after nightmare and disaster. After 5 years, we went to the French government and handed the company back after losing about 50 crores, right? That's when I said, I tell people, you think India is hard to do business? You think Indian labor laws are bad? Go try and do business in France. Then you come back here and say, this is heaven, absolute heaven, right? So we did those things and we have learned from it, right? But the point is, there is no learning that can be documented by one person and can be absorbed by everyone. Learning is experience. That means you've got to go there, you've got to do it, you learn, and you improve. Right? So, this is the tension triangle that we are constantly faced with as managing a company. Right? This is my tension. Right? Purpose drives everything.